So, what is going on, YouTubers? It's Sam from TeamSamuraiX1 here, and today, guys, I'm coming at you with a highly requested deck profile ever since the release of the Darkest Diablos deck, aka Lair Darkness. So, hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video, and in my personal opinion, the best deck to actually, incorporate the Lair Darkness engine, like Darkest Diablos and cards like Lair Darkness and Arima is Infernoid. So I'll explain to you guys the functionality of these two engines and two decks combined with each other once I get to the video. But by far, guys, this deck is actually very powerful. It's more powerful than the peer version by far. So if you guys definitely want to test out this deck, make sure you guys go on DB or things like that or YGOPro and definitely take this deck for a spin because it's a very fun deck to play. By the way, guys, if you guys want to help support the channel, make sure you guys get your Dark Magician Blue Eyes playmat today, and these playmats either come with or without zones. So if you guys want to get this playmat, all you guys gotta do is message me on my Facebook page. I'll leave a link to my Facebook page in the description box below. Send me a direct message and I'll give you guys full details on how you guys can actually get this mat. And the version of Infernoid that I'm gonna showcase you guys is gonna be the 40 card variation of the deck. If you guys want to see a 60 card variation, make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below. But this is a deck I've been playtesting for a couple weeks now, and I believe that this is just a very solid list for me to showcase you guys on the channel. I'll go through you guys the main deck, side deck, and of course the extra deck for you guys. So without further ado, let's get started with the deck profile. To start out with our monster, you're going to play, of course, Tripper Infernoid Decatron. This card is absolutely amazing. He dumps any Infernoid monster directly from the deck to the graveyard, so that way that you can feed your grave with Infernoid monsters, and depending on the Infernoid monster that you dump, he basically becomes his effect. It's also a tuner, which helps you get access to cards like Omega, Bios, and even Black Rose Dragon. So Tripper Infernoid Decatron, one of the best starters in the deck. And next off for your big boss monsters, you're going to play, of course, double Infernoid Onansu. This card is your board wipe of the deck, and also double Infernoid Deviati. This card is your spell and trap card removal of the entire deck. On summon, Deviati is a heavy storm, which is really awesome. And on summon for Onansu, this card is a dark hole, which is really good. And Onansu is actually able to negate spawn trap card effects, and also Deviati is able to negate monster effects. And these cards are really powerful because on summon they actually change the momentum of the game. So Deviati and Onansu, very standard to play in the deck. Next off, you're gonna play, of course, double Patrulia. Patrulia is your spawn trap card removal of the deck. It's a level 4 monster, which also helps you get access to Siphon Lord Omega, especially if you dump cards like Harmonic to the graveyard. Once you dump Harmonic to the graveyard using cards like Decatron, Decatron will come level 4. So Harmonic, really powerful card, actually helps you destroy monsters, and Patrulia helps you get rid of back rows, which is really good. So next, I'm gonna play, of course, double Infernoid Sisamus. This card is absolutely insane. If it battles a monster this turn, at the end of the battle phase, you get to banish one card on the field. And the really good thing about this card is that this card effects is not target, so you can actually get rid of any problematic floodgates or any problematic monster on the field if it attacks this turn. So Sisamus is really powerful, and especially when the Troy Mare comes out in Flames of the Destruction, this card will become really essential in the deck because you're actually able to incorporate cards like the Tomahawk into the deck, which helps you get access to more link plays with Troy Mares and things like that. Of course, the Atondo. Atondo is actually able to help you, push for a lot of damage on the board, which is really nice. And it's also one of your bigger beat stakes in the deck. And last but not least, we're gonna play the Infernoid Jet. This card is only in here because of Void Feast, and then at the same time, especially summon 2 Decatrons on the field. So you usually summon 2 Decatrons, level 1, and Sajet. Next off for the hand traps, no need to explain, double Ash Blossom, very powerful card. And I'm actually playing a mini Lightsworn engine. I'm playing double Radiant in the deck. The reason why I like Radiant is because this card is a 40 card deck, and and the most sufficient way to actually send cards to the graveyard is either using cards like Reasoning and also Monster Gate. But the only problem about those two cards is that those cards are one-ofs in the deck, and you obviously want to find consistent ways to actually dump your cards to the graveyard as quickly as possible. So that's why you want to play double Radiant, because when you play Radiant, you can actually play cards like Charge the Light Brigade, which sends you 3 free cards to the graveyard, which is what you want to do in this deck. And it's a 40 card deck, and I believe that Charge the Light Brigade is one of the most efficient ways to actually dump cards to the graveyard. Other than, if you're playing 60, you obviously have that grass is greener. But in this 40 card variation, I believe that a very small Lightsworn engine like 2 Radiant and 3 Charge is actually very efficient for a deck like 40 card Infernoid to actually thrive in today's metagame. And it also sends free cards to the graveyard as well. And Radiant's level 4 monster, which gets you up 2 mils on summon and 2 mils during the end phase. And it's actually not even that bad because it's a level 4 tuner, which helps you get access to cards like Omega with Patrulia on the board, which is pretty nice. So Raiden, definitely in here because of the Charge of Light Brigade and Charge, and Raiden essentially just 5 mils already within your first turn. Next off for your Lair Darkest engine, one of the best engines to actually incorporate Infernoids is the Darkest Diablos, triple Arima, and then triple Lair Darkness. These cards are actually really powerful in Infernoids, and I'll explain to you guys their functionalities right now and why they're just so good in this specific deck. Okay, if you guys do not know what Arima does, Arima basically searches Lair Darkness, so it is essentially your terraformings for Lair Darkness, which is really nice. And also Arima has amazing ability as well. You can also use its effect where you can tribute one dark monster, draw one card, or if you tribute a dark monster other than this card, to activate this effect, you can add one dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck to your hand instead. You can add cards like Darkest Diablos directly from the deck to your hand, which is really good. And Darkest Diablos, you can easily send this card to the graveyard if it's in your hand with cards like Void Vanishment, which is really good, and Void Vanishment will also get you Void Feast. So if you have Darkest Diablos in the graveyard while you have Lair of Darkness on the board, and you have access to and you get access to Void Feast, what you can do is that you can activate Void Feast on your opponent's turn, bring out 3 Infernoid monsters, and at this point you can use your Infernoid monsters effect to tribute off your opponent's dark monsters while Lair of Darkness on the board to banish their card in the graveyard, which is really, really amazing. So that's why Lair of Darkness just functions really well in this deck, is because all monsters on the board becomes dark monsters. The reason why Lair of Darkness is really powerful in a deck like Infernoids is that all face-up monsters on the field becomes dark, and once per turn, if you would tribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you can tribute one dark monster your opponent controls instead. So this card is essentially a once per turn kaiju for your Infernoid monsters, and this card literally makes all your Infernoid monsters become kaijus. And what I mean by this is that you can activate your Infernoid's effect to tribute your opponent's monster to banish one of their cards in the graveyard, which is really amazing. That's why Lair of Darkness just functions really well with this deck, because all the Infernoid monsters has amazing tribute effects. Like for example, like you can activate Onansu's effect to tribute your opponent's monster to negate something, or you can activate Deviati's effect to tribute your opponent's dark monster to negate something as well, which is really nice. And then that's why Lair of Darkness is really powerful. And of course, once you tribute a monster that you control, you can also activate cards like Darkest Diablos in the graveyard to bring itself back from the grave, so that way that you can just apply more pressure on the board, which is really nice. So that's why Lair of Darkness is really powerful in this deck, and that's why this engine just synergizes really well with Infernoids, because you're actually able to tribute your opponent's monsters while Lair of Darkness on the board, and also your Infernoids essentially becomes kaijus, by just disrupting a lot of plays during your opponent's turn to just tribute their monster just to gain your Infernoid's effect, which is really awesome. So Lair of Darkness is really powerful for that, and Arima is just really good in the deck because it searches Lair of Darkness. So you obviously want to see Lair of Darkness in your hand as quickly as possible, so that way that you can have that interruption by just tributing your opponent's monster to activate your Infernoid's effect. So Lair of Darkness, very powerful card, and it's like literally one of the best engines to actually incorporate with Infernoids. And Void Vanishment, you discard a card, you basically get to add your Void Feast directly from your deck to your hand, which is really nice. So this card gets you access to your win condition, which is Void Feast, and you can also access cards like Void Imagination as well. This card is really powerful, really good card going second. You can also send Outer Entity NTSS to the graveyard using Tierra's effect, and at that point you just destroy 3 cards on the field. Now after your broken 1-ups, you want to play cards like the Reasoning. Really powerful card. You guys don't know how powerful Reasoning is. The 1 monster gate. Really glad that this card came in foil now. Really beautiful. Next we're going to play, of course, the 1-for-1. This card brings out Decatron directly from the deck. The 1 Foolish Burial dumps any, Infernoid monster to the graveyard, essentially another Decatron, and also sends Darkest Diablos to the grave, which is really good. And then triple charge the Light Brigade. Card is absolutely incredible, guys, especially, sending 5 cards to the graveyard for his turn. If you normal summon Raiden, you also mill an additional 2 cards with Charge the Light Brigade, which is really amazing. And in a 40 card variation, I believe that is like one of the best mill engine in the deck, because you're actually able to just send 5 cards immediately to the graveyard to tutor out your Infernoid monsters, which is pretty good. So Charge the Light Brigade, I believe, is one of the most consistent ways in a 40 card deck to actually send cards to the graveyard, and playing Raiden doesn't really hurt the deck at all. And then last but not least, you're going to play, of course, triple Void Feast. This card is absolutely insane. You combo off this well with Void Banishment and also having Lair of Darkness on the board, you're literally just going to win the duel, man. This card is just really, really powerful. And you guys are probably wondering, Sam, how come you're only playing 3 Arimas and of course the Darkest Diablos in a Darkest Diablos, Lair of Darkness Infernoid deck, and why don't you play Lilith? And the reason why you don't play Lilith is because the only trap cards that you're playing in the deck is Void Feast, and Void Feast is already searchable with cards like Void Vanishment. So if you're playing Lilith in the deck, Lilith will only search you the Void Feast, but you already have a consistent way to actually get to Void Feast is because you're playing Void Vanishment. And Void Feast is only good by sending Void Vanishment to the graveyard because it's a face-up Void Spawn Trap card. So if you don't have a Void face-up Spawn Trap card to send using Void Feast, this card essentially becomes useless in the deck. So that's why, if you normal summon Lilith, set Void Feast, and if you don't have Void Vanishment, why even get Void Feast in the first place? The reason why the OCG can actually play Lilith is because they play 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Eradicator is absolutely disgusting in today's metagame right now if that card was at 3. So if you have access to multiple Eradicators, I 100% will consider playing Lilith, but in this specific version, all you need to play is Void Feast and no other trap cards in the deck. All the other viruses aren't really too great except for Eradicator Epidemic Virus, and this deck just already works really well with the Darkest Diablos and also Arima. I don't want to play Lilith. It's just another break in the deck in my personal opinion. So Lair of Darkness and 3 Arimas and Darkest Diablos is definitely the correct number of Lair of Darkness engine that you should be playing in the deck. So that's pretty much for the main deck, guys. Let's go off to the side deck. Guys, side deck is always with the personal preference, but I have Ash Blossom, triple Twin Twister, triple Dimensional Barrier, double Drow and Lockbird, triple evenly match, and last but not least, Yugioh Dark Hole to round off your side deck. Extra deck you don't play, of course, Siphon Road Omega, right here, Black Rose Dragons, and the Beals. You can easily make these cards with Decatron, which is really good. Triple Elder Energy NTSS. You can actually send these cards to the graveyard using Void Imagination, and Void Imagination, brings you out, Infernoid Tira. And the reason why I'm also playing 2 Void Imagination is because these cards are only good just going second. Like, you don't want to be seeing 3 of a card going second, going first, obviously. So Tira is just really broken. Send these 3 cards to the graveyard, and you just pop 3 cards on the field, which is really nice. Doolittle Chimera, Decode Soccer, Borlo Dragon, Surura Skull Dread, Master King Archfiend, really cool card, Underclock Taker, Link Spider, and last but not least, the Topological Bomber Dragon. And these Link monsters are in here because you can actually generate tokens using Lair Darkness, which is pretty nice. So that's why I'm putting the Link monster in the deck, and these are Link monsters you can have easily access to, especially if your Lair Darkness were actually able to just generate you a lot of tokens. So that's pretty much it for the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this deck. Lair Darkness is just really, really powerful in Infernoid because you're actually able to kaiju your opponent's monster essentially by using your opponent's monsters to activate your own Infernoid's effect, which is really powerful. So if you guys want to test out this deck, make sure you guys go ahead and test it out. Let me know what you guys think about this deck in the comment section below. By far, this is the best variation and the best variant of the deck. And if you guys want to see a Dark Road one, I have a Dark Road deck coming up, incorporating the Lair Darkest engine. So you guys want to see that, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Sam from Team Sam signing out. Alright guys, peace.
I feel like Usain in the cheetah print. Talk fresh game, I don't need a minute. R.I.P. the game, I need a minute. Okay, let's proceed with it. I'm in the house, got the deed with it. These bozos always sneak this and they taking shots. I'm a king with it, like no, this league business.